back to Horizon 2020, and I think we're about to hear from Sergio here from Enterprise Ireland on the incentives and the supports that Enterprise Ireland can give you in your efforts to engage with the Horizon 2020 process. So, Sergio Fernandez Ceballos. Yes, is that right? Okay, there you go.
That's great. Thanks a million, Dennis. Thank you very much for having me here today. Yes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about influencing, more than the supports. I'll mention the supports, the financial supports that Enterprise Ireland offers in terms of if you're thinking of participating into these work programs. But I'm just going to pick a few things that Sean McCarthy mentioned earlier around the lobbying and the networking that happens in the Brussels corridors, and just to give you a flavor of who is who around some of the industry associations and how the work programs come to light, especially now that we are putting together a new work program for 2016-17 in Horizon 2020, and I'll finish with a few tips and hints of how to get involved. So, see how this perfect. Just before we jump into that, Sean mentioned who we are, and let me introduce the network. It's the National Support Network for H2020, and before that for FP7. We are around 32 people based in 9 different organizations, departments, and agencies. You can see them there, and we are primarily liaising with the research offices in the universities, so I see a lot of familiar faces here, the Institutes of Technology, the Intertrade Ireland, and you'll hear from Bernadette later on, and colleagues up north, and the newly set up network for the national contact points in the north in University of Ulster and Queen's, and also with some of the industrial bodies and applied research associations in Ireland, such as IBEC, IRDG, with Dennis here, and sister agencies, IDA, SFI, and also the centers of excellence from SFI, technology centers, etc., etc. We also have a Brussels office from Enterprise Ireland based in the Irish Embassy. Very handy if you are thinking of meeting some project officers from the Commission, or if you are thinking of hosting a consortium meeting with other European partners, just come to us because you could avail of the meeting room that we have in those offices. Sean went through very nicely through the Horizon 2020 breakdown and the different programs, so I'm not going to spend much time about it. I'm just going to say that the main pillar that I looked after myself is this pillar number 2, which is the industrial leadership pillar, and is where we see most of the applied research happening, and it was a key element of Commissioner Moira Geoghegan-Quinn before she left, making sure that industry was represented in the new program from FP7 to Horizon 2020. So that new pillar was taken out of the different themes that we had in FP7, and we have now a new pillar looking after industry. So if you look more carefully into that pillar, you will see that it's divided into 3 main sections. Again, they were covered earlier. I'm just going to say that is a 18 million euro pillar. The middle one is around 13 million euro pillar. The ICT is 8 billion, so 8 billion in 7 years. The nanoscience, advanced materials, manufacturing pillar is 4.4 billion euro. Manufacturing is the first time that is being funded by the European Commission, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Access to risk finance is a new program. It wasn't there in FP7. We had the European Investment Bank, but now it's part of the H2020 with around 2.7 billion euro. And innovation in SMEs, the SME instrument, and Sean spoke about that, and I'm around for the day if you want to talk more about the SME instrument and the fast-track innovation pilots. Middle pillar, the European Commission defined 6 key enabling technologies, and those you can see them there on the right. Nanotechnologies, advanced materials, micro and nanoelectronics, photonics, biotechnology, and those 2 at the bottom is just the one, advanced manufacturing. And they were selected by the European Commission in H2020 as seen as contributing to solving some of the grand challenges that the European society is facing from now to 2020. So all that is EU lingo that you need to be getting familiar if you're thinking of putting one of these things together. And they were selected based on market research and also driving competitiveness and growth and opportunities. But these KETS, key enabling technologies, are the policy documents that if you're thinking of and looking at H2020 as a company or as an academic, that you'll be needing to be looking into it. I'm not going to say anything about the TRLs. TRLs is new in Horizon 2020. It wasn't there in FP7. Sean spoke at length about them and putting the different sub-programs into them. Applied research, we're going to be focusing from TRL 4 and 7. We don't see topics in H2020 looking at activities focusing in TRL 8 and 9 because H2020 is all about pre-commercial research. Interestingly enough, since we are here and Sean mentioned them, I have one slide that's very similar to Sean's slide on the PPPs. And again, we are starting with acronyms. The European Commission loves acronyms. PPP stands for private-public partnerships. And some of them, they've been around for a long time. Some others, they are new. The difference between the ones on the left and on the right, the ones on the left, the Joint Technologies Initiatives, they've been around for a long time, part of FP6, some of them, part of FP7, H2020. But the main difference between the ones on the left and on the right is the ones on the left, the European Commission externalized all the services, evaluations, the running of the budgets, and the calls themselves to a separate legal entity. And even though the European Commission oversees the running of DASH, they are a little bit different. They work a little bit different to the ones on the right, which are part of the work programs, and it's business as usual for topics in terms of if you were applying to them. Contractual PPPs, the ones on the right, they were set up as a response of the European Commission to the recession in 2009. Some of them, they started in 2010. 3 actually, they were starting in 2010. Manufacturing, energy-efficient buildings, and the Green Car Initiative. And then they were a success story for the European Commission, and they were rolled out with some more that you can see there. Robotics, photonics is coming up now, it's a new one, high-performance computing, and they are, as I said, embedded into the work programs, whereas the ones on the left, they are not. Probably this is the most important slide of my presentation, and it's about how the work programs come to life. So in the middle there you have the European Commission, and then on the right-hand side, you have the new work program for 2016 and 17. Those work programs that Sean mentioned, that the 90 pages work program for the health, for the transport, for the energy, for the rest of them. So timeline down the bottom there, September 2015. We are here in Brussels, that the publication of the work programs is going to be in September, late September 2015. We've started to see some draft work programs by some of the delegates and national contact points. Most of us, we have one. If you haven't got it, just approach us. I'll give you our contact details because we more or less know what the European Commission has in mind now in terms of the next work programs broken by the different themes. But this process started 15 months ago. So it was last year when we started working with the European Commission on the new work programs for 16-17. And there are 3 main stakeholder groups that you can see there on the left and at the bottom. The most important one is this one on the left corner, bottom corner, the industry associations and the technology platforms. They are called European Technology Platforms, ETPs. There are around over 50 technology platforms. They are industry associations, not only industry, academics come around as well on board as members. And they've been talking to the Commission now for at least 15 months in terms of their shopping list. What for the members is important to be funded in the next work programs, and they've furnished the European Commission with a list of topics that they would like to see making their way through the different programs. So that's happening since the summer last year, and then we have another group, which is the advisory group to the European Commission on H2020, the top one, top left. And each of the themes, each of the programs, there will be somebody, a group of people talking to the European Commission every 6 months around a long-term strategy. More or less every country is represented, so we have several people from Ireland in each of these committees. They do not represent any legal entity, they do not represent any country, they are selected by their expertise from the evaluation data pool. and they will be looking at a very long-term strategy in terms of what it's important for manufacturing, for construction, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have a third group, which is the bottom one, the Member States Program Committee meeting, the PC meeting. And us, the national counterpoints and delegates, we attend those meetings. It used to be once a month for FP7. Now it's been reduced to 6 times, more or less, 6 times a year. So every couple of months, we are in Brussels talking to the Commission and looking at what they have in mind in terms of the new work programs. It used to be the case that we were able to influence the work programs. That's gone for Horizon 2020. The European Commission is telling us that they want to see the influencing the new work programs through the technology platforms, through the industry associations, and they will give us the shopping list for each of them and for us to make a comment around those topics. But if you are looking at influencing at a very strategic level those work programs and H2020, those are the platforms that you should be looking at. One example, for instance, for the NMPB program, which is the manufacturing program, Advanced Materials Manufacturing Biotechnology. Those are around 15 technology platforms, industry associations relevant to this program. You will see others relevant to other programs. This one has a lot, so I just put the worst example for you here. So the ones in red, you can see, I thought they are the ones most relevant, and where I see that some topics are very clearly making their way through into the new work program. EUMAT is the materials one, nanomedicine. SPIRE, which is looking at process industries, pharmaceutical industries. Manufacturing is EFRA, E2B is construction, and additive manufacturing, which is 3D printing, and I have a few slides on those. So probably your research, as a company and as an academic, your research is not going to be aligned to all of them, but probably one or two. So you really need to make sure that you look at the strategic research agenda, the roadmap. What do they think? Do you want to meet them? And we can help you with that. The National Support Network can help you with that. I'm going to give you 3 examples very quickly about 3 different industry associations with 3 different levels of maturity. If you are in the Commission nowadays in Brussels and talking to the Commission and you talk about manufacturing, the Commission will tell you the buzzword is 3D printing. It was mentioned earlier. 3D printing and additive manufacturing is what we are hearing that is now very fashionable. The European Commission has set up a working group. It's not a European technology platform. It's not an industry association. They call it working group, with very key players there that you can see there on the right. I downloaded there, that's the strategic research agenda, a very nice 48 pages document where they are looking at where the research should be going, what are the materials they should be using, what are the standards, and who is taking place. So we are looking at TWI in the UK, we are looking at Siemens, we are looking at the Fraunhofer Institute, TNO, and a small SME in Spain, Prodintec. SMEs are included here. So academics, SMEs, multinationals. They came together and they put a very clear roadmap for the Commission from now to 2022. So it's very hard to read it there on the slide. But from Ireland, who is attending these meetings? The ICMR, which is the Technology Centre for Manufacturing, Irish Centre for Manufacturing Research. So Andrew Lynch attends 2 meetings, one in June. 2 months ago, there was another one. And we are hearing that something is going to happen about 3D printing. We see a lot of topics now through the work programs, in the new work programs for 16-17. Will there be a new technology platform, a new industry-driven initiative? We don't know yet. But this is the formation of something new. If you are interested in 3D printing, this is a good time to talk to us and then see how can you liaise with these new working groups. So we know them well. We know who's driving this from the Commission and from the companies. Second example is Factories of the Future, the manufacturing program. This technology platform or industry association has been around for probably, it's around 5 years now. Down at the bottom there, you can see members from Ireland that they signed up as members. And it's a very interesting one because we know very well the CEO for the legal entity, for the industry association. We know very well the technical man. They've been in Ireland, they are in Ireland every couple of years, twice a year more or less, presenting to the different community on manufacturing. And we can help you to meet them, bring them over here, or traveling with you to Brussels to have a look to what the activities are doing. They have a very nice roadmap published from 2014-2020 that you should be downloading if you are interested in generic manufacturing. The industry association is called EFRA, European Factories of the Future Research Association. And it's the same for the construction one in buildings, E2B, running since 2010. So that's another example that we know they're the members from Ireland. You can see them down at the bottom, and we would know Stefano Carosio, the CEO in Apollonia Engineering, very well, and he's been here in Ireland several times presenting again to the construction community. And the third example of maturity is the nanomedicine ETP. The nanomedicine platform has been around for a long time, probably over 10 years now. And that's the structure of the platform, the different working groups that you can see there. And again, you can see there at the bottom on the left corner, some of the Irish institutions sign up as members. That's good. They are members. They attend the meetings, the boards, the brokerage events. But what we would like to see is a different level of interaction with these platforms as a member. There with the arrows, you can see there for some of the working groups, for instance, the first one, Paul Galvin in Tyndall. He's the vice chair of the Nanodiagnostics and Imaging Working Group. There on the right, Adriele Prina Melo from Trinity College in Ambercran. He's the chairman of the Nanotoxicity Group. So that gives you an idea of, at the very high level in Brussels, what these guys are doing. We saw a draft working program for nanomedicine, biomaterials, medical devices, probably after the summer last year, through those guys in Ireland. It was sent to us before anybody saw anything. So they really, at a very high level, that's what we would like to see, that yes, you become a member, but then you become an active member for the European technology platforms. So just to finish, this is my last slide, a few steps, next steps for you if you're thinking of participating. The first one is talking to your national contact point. 32 people in Ireland to help you on the ground, to liaise with the European Commission and the different institutions, and to access those funds and help you to access the funding. The second one is, first of all, is if you're thinking of participating as a company or as an academic, identifying one or two of these technology platforms, industry associations, and have a look to the roadmap. What are they doing? Download the roadmap, look at the strategic research agenda, what are the hot topics, what's coming down the tracks for next year. Talk to your NCP around that. What about meeting the European technology platform? Travel to Brussels with your national contact point, or having them here in your institution to give a talk, to explain the roadmap. They organize, the European Commission organized brokerage events. They are public for everybody, but now we are seeing a different trend. The European technology platforms are organizing their own brokerage events. And this is before the draft program is published. And the European Commission will say, they will deny that there is no correlation between the funding obtained by the members of the platform and other members. But if you do a very close analysis, it's undeniable. So it's very good that, very important that you have a close look at these platforms and see which one of the 55 platforms is aligned to what you are doing. And then somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was Sean, that it's a long-term bid. You mightn't get results on year one, but it's a long strategy for your company or if you're an academic, just to have a look, start engaging with the national support network and see where the opportunities are. And I'll just finish here with my details. Horizon2020.ie is the main website set up by Ireland to support you, where you can find who is who in terms of the national contact points broken by the different areas, but also there is a section very clearly demarcated on financial support. And we have financial support for the academics thinking of becoming a coordinator, up to €12,500. If you're thinking of coordinating one of these bids for H2020. Also travel support if you're an academic and thinking of traveling to Brussels to meet a partner, up to €3,000 for a potential consortium in H2020. And then for companies, we have the innovation vouchers for H2020. And that's a new pilot scheme that we're running in EI. So I'm here for the day anyway. If you want to talk to me, just approach me anytime. Thank you.